away, you poor creature. This luxury is not for you. The floor is where you belong.
She humiliated and mocked a poor old man at her party. Just days later, her entire family's world began to collapse. In the busy heart of Lagos, just after the sun slipped below the horizon, a familiar sound echoed through the neighborhood. The distant beat of party sounds filled the evening air. It was the sound of celebration. From the outside, the Adeola family looked like the perfect picture of success. Their home was always filled with laughter, music, and expensive gatherings. People in the neighborhood admired them. At the center of it all was Folake Adeola, the proud matriarch of the family. She was famous for throwing extravagant parties. On those nights, large metal trays filled with delicious Nigerian dishes were passed around to guests. The aroma of jollof rice, fried meat, and pepper soup filled the air. Folake often told her children something she deeply believed. To be respected, she would say proudly, "We must show what we have." To her, the Adeola family was more than just a household, they were a brand. Her husband, Olatunde Adeola, quietly supported this image. He was a businessman whose ventures looked successful from the outside. But many of those businesses operated dangerously close to the edge of legality. Their large 5-bedroom house, painted a bold bright blue, stood proudly on the street. It was a symbol of their wealth and status. But behind the beautiful image, something was wrong. The Adeola family's life had slowly become controlled by one thing: fear of judgment. Every smile was rehearsed, every conversation was carefully planned. Real connection had slowly disappeared from their lives. Their own evening, something happened that would change everything. A tired, fragile figure slowly walked past the shining gates of the Adeola mansion. His clothes were torn and worn. His steps were slow and uneven. The man was known in the community as Uncle Jide. Once respected as an elder in the neighborhood, life had dealt him painful blows. He had lost his family and his home. Now he survived by begging on the streets of Lagos. When Folake saw him near their gate, she immediately warned her children. "Stay away from that man," she said sharply. "Do you want people to think we associate with someone like him?" Her words were cold and firm. But fate had its own plans. A few weeks later, the Adeola family hosted another of their grand parties. Music filled the compound. Guests laughed loudly. Expensive drinks flowed freely. Standing quietly at the edge of the property, hidden in the shadows, was Uncle Jide. Folake noticed him. She turned to her daughter, Temitope. "Be a dear," she said with a slight smirk. "Tell that filthy man to leave." Temitope hesitated. "Do I have to, Mama?" she asked nervously. She had seen something different in Uncle Jide before. His tired eyes seemed to carry stories, wisdom, and quiet strength. But the pressure of her mother's gaze left her no choice. "Are you ashamed of your family?" Folake hissed. Reluctantly, Temitope walked toward the old man. "Uncle Jide, you need to leave," my mother said. The old man looked at her kindly. Do not let pride lead you where love cannot follow." Then he slowly turned and walked away. Temitope stood frozen, her cheeks burning with shame. But when she looked back, her mother's cold stare silenced her. Days passed. Soon whispers about Uncle Jide spread through the neighborhood like gossip carried by the wind. What the Adeola family did not realize was that Uncle Jide was deeply respected by many people in the community. His difficult life was only one small part of a much larger story. As the days turned into weeks, something strange began to happen. Problems slowly began to gather around the Adeola household. But the family was too blinded by pride to notice. Then, 2 days later, their world began to collapse. Olatunde's business partner suddenly turned against him. Rumors of fraud and illegal dealings spread quickly. One exhausting night, Olatunde returned home to find Folake surrounded by unpaid bills and threatening messages. "What will we do?" she cried. "What have you done?" At that moment, their son Damilola noticed someone outside the gate. It was Uncle Jide again. Without hesitation, Damilola spoke. "Let him in." His parents stared in shock. "We've wronged him enough," he said. Folake scoffed loudly. "That beggar has no power over us." But something inside Damilola pushed him forward. He opened the gates. Uncle Jide slowly entered the house. "I did not come to be a daddy," he said calmly. "I came to teach." He looked looked at them gently. You have gained wealth but forgotten humility. True status does not come from silk or riches. It comes from love and compassion. His words struck Olatunde deeply. For the first time, he began to understand how pride had blinded him. You turned your back on what truly matters, he said. Continued, and now reality has turned its back on you. Soon, the entire neighborhood heard about the Adeola family's downfall. Business partners abandoned them, friends disappeared, Temi Tokte's social circle vanished. Folake's grand party stopped. The once powerful family found themselves completely alone. Weeks passed in painful silence. Slowly, the family began to reflect on their mistakes. Finally, Olatunde swallowed his pride and went to find Uncle Jide. When he saw him, he knelt down. Please teach us, he said humbly. We understand our mistakes now. Uncle Jide snuggled warmly and helped him stand. Respect can be rebuilt, he said, but only through service, humility, and genuine kindness. From that day forward, the Adeola family changed their ways. They began helping their community. They worked alongside neighbors. They shared meals with those in need. Slowly, they rebuilt their reputation through real acts of kindness. Over time, people welcomed them back. Years later, during a joyful community celebration, Folake noticed Uncle Jide sitting among a group of children, telling stories as they listened with excitement. She walked over and asked softly, Uncle Jide, what is the secret to a fulfilled life? He chuckled gently. Honor others, he said. When you honor others, you honor yourself. What you give will always return to you. And so,